Yesterday, I went to go see Alien Romulus. I'm a big fan of the Alien universe, seen all the movies, read, I think, a lot of the books. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And just in general, a big fan. And I was interested to see where this movie was grounded and where it was going to go. But let's admit, the history of movies in the Alien universe haven't always been a hit. Some of them have been misses or divergent off the path, so to speak. I'm trying to be gracious here. Nevertheless, I was hearing some generally good things about this movie and some positive reviews from people who had seen it before I went to go see it on Saturday. But I was trying very hard not to hear about or see any spoilers. So I went in with not a lot of information about the movie. And when I came out, my feeling was a good movie, a solid movie. Doesn't hit that level of Alien or Aliens, but definitely is a solid movie with some faults. So I'm going to go into my explanation of what I think about the movie. I'm going to warn you, this has lots of spoilers. So if you're looking for spoiler-free analysis, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk a lot about what I saw in the movie. So if you don't want to hear about what was in the movie just yet, I would probably just stop with my review right now. But again, I'll say this. I think it was a good movie. I think it was worth going to see in the theater. I was definitely very interested in what I saw, and it was definitely very creepy and scary at times. So I give it a overall thumbs up, but there are some caveats. So let's get into it. I did like the cast. I really liked Andy and Rain. I loved those two characters. I think they worked really well together. The actors that portrayed them also did a really good job. I like that the movie focused on a very small cast. You didn't have a lot of different stories and different backstories about what's going on and all this stuff. It really focused on just a small set of characters, and it allowed the story, I think, to move faster and get to the point much quicker. So I like that. There's one character, I think his name was Bjorn, that was kind of obnoxious and throwaway to some degree. And quite frankly, he is. But I guess it was that kind of character that you need to bring in a little bit of tension here and there. And he also brings in the fact that he doesn't like androids, and they explain a little bit as to why. But overall, again, I thought the cast was very solid. I think they did a really good job. I love the look of the movie. I think they did a really good job with the scenes from space. I loved the scenes, especially the rings, and that looked really, really good. I loved how the sets, especially there's a scene where the ship that they have that's docking to the Romulus and Remus, I forget it has a name, but it's two kind of ships together. It's going out of control along the side of the ship, and you see the light going around as well. I thought that was really cool. I really like that attention to detail. So the sets look great. The shots look great. So I really like that from the movie. I love that they use practical effects. I watched some behind the scenes making and how they used a lot of practical effects as much as they possibly could. The face huggers that you see running around, that if you look closely in the behind the scenes shots, they're actually like little miniature cars in a way, and they're on wheels. But of course, they're editing this all out, but then it allows them to move physically in the shot. I like the emphasis on that. I like that they were, and of course, there's definitely some that are not practical. There are some CG shots in there, and that's fine. I don't mind that, but I do like the visceralness, the realism of when you have something that's actually physically there. I think that movies should try to do that as much as you can, because it gives you something to react to, and it gives you something that's actually in the shot. And it's no discredit to movies that do a lot with CG and CGI. I feel like sometimes it's way overused and relied upon and not really adding to the scene. So I liked that aspect to this movie as well. The end creature was a little odd. The hybrid, which to me looked like a really, really tall Promethean. Well, not Promethean, but engineer. It was a little bizarre. That one was, and I understood where they were going with that. And as soon as you see that one character when she's pregnant, that she gives herself the shot of the black goo, essentially, which I like that they bring out that call out back to Prometheus just a little bit. But I do like that they did that. As soon as she gives herself the shot, you know something bad's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. But the end result was just strange. You know, it was a little odd. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It just was okay, I guess that's where we're going type of thing. So it was good though. I mean, I think it was still, again, shot well. It fit. It was just a little jarring, a little odd. Speaking of callouts, there are a couple in this movie, and actually I think this is where the movie has some faults. So let me talk a little bit about those. So the first one is the fact that they find an alien xenomorph encased in some kind of cocoon structure near the wreckage of the Nostromo. I've always interpreted the wreckage or the destruction of the Nostromo as nuclear. To me, there should be no wreckage left at all. And of course, in the movie Aliens, they talk about they never found the Nostromo. Well, of course, in this movie, they're saying, yes, they secretly did. And they also find the alien that was ejected from the ship that Ripley escapes in. And at least that's my interpretation of what's going on in that beginning scene. I'm not saying I didn't like it. It just felt a little forced that this ship that looks like it's completely vaporized in the first movie, no, there's still some wreckage left. And that somehow this alien that drifted in space cocoons itself and drifts into the wreckage of the Nostromo as well. I thought that was a little weird, to say the least. But it does tie into the first movie and at least gives a reason why, you know, Weyland-Yutani was trying to find the wreckage because of what they knew what might be there. So not too bad, but the call-outs get worse. I did not like Rook. I liked the character, and I liked that there was a android on the space station that is explaining to them, you know, that's kind of half destroyed, and then explains to them what's been going on and what's happening, and of course is not necessarily on their side either. It didn't have to look like Ian Holm. It did not have to look like Ash. I felt that was very jarring and completely unnecessary. If you would have just had another android there, just like the brother character doesn't look like any other android we've ever seen, like Bishop or anything else, or David, why have this one look like Ash? Even if you say, well, it's from the same line of the factory or something. No, I don't buy that. I felt that was too much of a call out. It was distracting to me, and I felt the scene and the scenes with Rook would have actually been better if they used a different actor that didn't look like Ian Holm, or they did the CG on the face to make it look like Ian Holm. I didn't like that. I like the character, and since the character and the lines and what's going on, I think works well, that is somewhat forgiving, but they really should not have used the Ash likeness. Doing the call-out lines, I felt was distracting. Like when you hear, I think it's the brother android that says busy little creatures, but it might be Rook's voice in the background when they find the nest. Either way, it took me a second to I realized I heard that line before, and then I realized later it's Carter J. Burke saying that in Aliens, busy little creatures. And not necessary. Don't do this, especially the line that's said in the elevator. Oh my God. When Andy says the get away from her line, I cringed. I felt that was so unnecessary, so completely unnecessary. It did not work at all. And please, people, when you're making movies, stop doing this. Okay, if you're making a sequel or a prequel or however you want to say it to other movies, don't do the, you're in a universe. You obviously have the Whale and Yutani, you have the Xenomorphs, you have all this story and background there, and yeah, that's fine. But to have specific lines like this said, it's just, no, don't do that. It just seems so bad and so distracting. If you've never seen any of the Alien movies, you wouldn't necessarily notice it. The why he says it might be a little weird, but if you've seen Aliens, that line is so iconic. That line is one of the most iconic lines in any movie ever. It works so well when Ripley's on the power loader and she's about to fight the Queen and she says that line. It's like, yes, when you first hear it, it's like so inspirational, and it just shows the rage that she has towards these creatures and protecting Newt. This is just like, blah. Why did you do this? It was not even necessary. In fact, I'll even say, I think a lot of that elevator scene, if there's one part of the movie you could cut, that was it. Not that they had to go up the elevator, that's fine, but it seems like they padded it out too long, with the anti-gravity, which was really good, and explaining that, or the lack of gravity, and then them shooting the Xenos in the hive, and then the acid is just floating there and they have to get by it. I thought that was cool. But when they're going up the elevator and the generators are about to recycle to give gravity for a little bit, I think that was necessary. But then to have her fall, she's caught by a Xeno, so she doesn't die, but the Xeno is going to kill her anyway. That just felt really weird. And then, then the brother android came down to rescue her. It felt like too much there. Like they painted themselves into a corner and really didn't know how to get quite out of this scene. I think it would have been better if, when she's floating up and she realizes she has a limited amount of time before gravity is going to turn back on, that she just barely catches him, or she misses him, but that causes her to spin, and then she grabs onto like something on the wall, and then she's able to keep going, and they move up and move on. I don't know, that scene itself felt like, in retrospect, just didn't work as well. They should have done something to keep it moving, keep it going. And yeah, the Xeno catching her was just weird. Really, really, it did not make any sense. So that's it. Again, even with the faults that I think the movie has, it's a solid movie. It's a good movie. I think if you don't know anything about the Alien universe, you can go in and get entertained. It looks really good. I think the acting is done really well. I think the practical effects look really good. If you don't know any of the call-outs, then as a fan, you're not going to get my complaints. So enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is. We finally, I think, have a decent Alien movie again. I don't think it's at the same level of Alien and Aliens. And that's the thing. I think without these things that I mentioned, and I've heard from other people reviewing the movie saying they don't like this, the things I didn't like as well. I think if those would have been changed, and they're not big changes, if you just would have made some little changes, don't have an Ash look-alike, don't have the call-outs, change the elevator scene, you would have actually had a movie that probably would be almost to that level. That's how good this movie is. So, it just needed that extra set of tweaking and going, maybe let's not do these things. And I think you would have had a really strong Alien movie. But that being said, I still liked it. I think it was good. I enjoyed seeing it. I may go see it again just to now that I know what's coming, I can kind of look for extra little things that they have maybe in the scenes that I missed before. If you've seen the movie, feel free to leave comments talking about what you liked or didn't like in the movie. And maybe there's something that you've seen that I've missed when I watched the movie myself. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.